If you haven't been, like, that's the restaurant to be.
Yeah.
If you haven't been to, if you want to go to a nice restaurant and enjoy fucking like 10 out of 10 experience, like it's a can't miss.
Yeah.
If you go and you don't like Savio Lope, don't you ever talk to me again.
Yeah.
And I'm dead serious. That's one of the ones I'm dead serious.
Yeah.
Like if I say, what'd you do this weekend? And you said, I went to Savio Lope. And I say, how was it? And you said you didn't like it. Do not even continue the conversation with me. It's like, hey, even if we've been friends for a while, I'm gonna be like, you know what? Like, no offense.
Yeah, no taste.
It's just one of those things that you just like, we can't.
Yeah.
You know, I said it. I was talking to Sam. I was like, it's one of those things like, you don't like Sam, or if you don't like Stanley. I'm just like, we can't. Like, there's only a certain. This is gonna be so platonic and so surface level. It's just gonna be, hey, how's it going? Good, great. That's it. That's as far as I'm going with the conversation.
Because I even said it to you. I even texted you because when you asked me, I was like, bro, like, if you go, then even if you're terrible at dates, that's at least like you've got like four points. At least 4 points.
If you take a first date,
I'm like,
and you won, if you don't hit, but if you don't at least get a second date out of it, like the ambiance and the food and the environment itself is gonna make up for your lack of We on? I fucking love Tom, man. Brady's getting like more inspirational. I think like since he's retired, he's talking a lot more about like his mentality and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool. Him giving like a little bit of game to the younger guys. Like it was just him talking to CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
Don't lie to me.
I do actually. Yeah.
Who's he play for?
The Texans.
Okay, good. Okay, just double check it.
Yeah. His dad. He's a quarterback. His daddy's in jail. I know a nigga.
Yeah. So he was giving some game to CJ because obviously everyone's fucking screaming his name because he's playing so well. He's probably leading in the MVP race right now.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was just watching that. How you been, man?
Good, man. It's been a good little week.
What about it?
I don't know. It's just been like, can't complain. Like a lot of shit been doing. It's been good. Me and the homies working on some cool projects. Like there's a lot of shit where it's like a lot of projects I'm gonna be starting like next month and even like going into like the new year. A lot of big shit. And like I had like a plan to get out of debt and like pay off some shit. Like we're making the last couple payments to some things.
There
and
you
then
go.
there's a couple other things. I'm like, okay, now that's out the way. I need to start buying gear. I need to start doing shit. Just investing more in myself. So it's been good.
That's good.
Yeah, even like today, man, it's crazy. It's like I had this weird dream, but it's been like kind of like a reflection of the year and just like how some shit just got fucked. But that's also opened up the opportunity for me to like, you know, like new opportunities, like again, like a new group of people, like you being one of them, a bunch of other people. It's like, yeah, like I'm just super grateful for where I'm at right now. And it's like, yeah, man, just like I think even for you, I was thinking about it, it's like one of the people like you've given me a chance. Like we've been working together for like 4 years. Like you've let me like do a lot of things and like run with it. We're just like, yeah, man, like this idea and like I've actually been able to grow and just do a lot of shit and even just like expand, like even just like one, like just that you having the faith in me to do stuff, but also just like investing in me and like there's a lot of shit, like even like the podcast, like, there's so much shit where it's like we've done together where I'm like, man, it's helped me grow.
For sure. It's just a creative freedom, man.
Yeah.
Once you kind of get a glimpse that someone's like capable and like their work is good, then it's like just let them cook. You know? It's like one of those things where it's just like anyone's idea of what it should be, it's not reality. It's more so like let them produce and then kind of tweak and then let them produce again and tweak. There's no point of me or anybody hiring somebody like you and then have me do it my way. It's like more like I can't do this and I don't know how to do this. I've seen your work. You know what looks like you know what you're doing. So this is the general concept, but like, you know, take it and run. It's kind of like an artist. Like I look at it as art because like if it's like, okay, I want a picture of me and my kids and we're kind of doing this, but like in terms of like kind of what it should look like, just get your brush and start going, man. As long as what I need is in there, you're free to do what you want. And I feel like that's the best way you can get a good piece out of somebody. If you put too many like restraints on somebody, then they're not going to give you.
But it's not even that. I think it's a lot of people like they have an idea, and like again, it's like what you said, like let the person cook. But it's also there's a lot of things like we've started doing where it's like I had no idea how to do, but even you just like giving me like just like that kind of like that rope for me to kind of learn, and like you know obviously like there was like giving me that runway where it's like I can learn stuff. Like even with the podcast, like when we started this shit, I had no fucking idea how to do it. And even like yes, but that's the thing. It's like, but a lot of people, it's like there's like that heavy expectation. And it's like they don't give you enough time, and it's like I was watching something where it's like a lot of people, it's like when you start learning something new, we often put that pressure, even like with whatever we've perfected, kind of forgetting to get back to that mindset of like when I started, I didn't know anything. So it's always like relearning shit. So even like with us, like even with the podcast, like I'm always trying to like make this shit better. I'm like, oh, like what gear do I need to get? Like even like now, like, even like I want to set up some lights where we could turn these lights off and just like fucking just like make the production better. Even just like
for sure,
like what we even talking about, getting like an editor, or like even like someone to actually just like as we're recording, like there's so many things I've been thinking about, even with other shit that we're doing, like with like the Black Label, even like when I send you like those photos on like on I think yesterday, it's like even like that studio, man, like there's a lot of shit that we could shoot there for like Black Label. Like there's so much shit like in my head, like I've been cooking, but it's like now it's like it has to come out of my head and actually do it.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's like just being in the right environment where it's like I have people who can actually back me.
Yeah.
And just like let me,
and the support.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. Having someone like there to be able to like help you get it out of your head into reality and like push you towards it and obviously help you with it is key. But how long do you think like the word cook has been fucking going around? Because I feel like I just said it and I'm just like, I get what it means. Like even you say it and you don't really think about it, but I'm like, I get it. Like cook is like something like so like intuitive, like, you know, it's like it's not a recipe. Like you let someone cook, it's like they put like a little bit, like they could never tell you how much to put in because it's all by feel. Like, just let him cook, man. He's fucking putting spices and doing his thing. Every meal is different, but like how long has it been a year? I think
I feel like it's like it hasn't been a year, but I think it's because of like the sound thing, like let him cook, let him cook. Like I think that's based off that.
Yeah, it definitely was at the beginning of the year.
Yeah,
I don't remember anybody saying it in January or February.
I think it's like one of those things where it's like probably people did say it like in like ball, but it's like with like most new trends, like it's something that was there before, and someone like kind of brings it back. So it's like because I feel like it's been there for a minute, but I feel like I
wonder where it's from. Like usually, typically like. Certain slang is like something from like Memphis or from wherever, so I'm wondering where it like originated from. But like it hit mainstream and like now everyone's doing it. Or everyone's saying it. It's just like let him ball out, let him do his thing, let him cook, man. I was wondering that. I was just like, fuck, everyone keeps saying it now, and even I caught myself saying it. But that's good, man. That's good with the like the whole getting out of debt thing. That's huge, man. Fuck, how long you been in debt for? Like shit.
A lot, like it's
not a lot of money.
Not a lot of money.
Hopefully, what's
I mean, like, there's still some shit where it's like, you know, there's like healthy debt and also just like setting up a plan. I think a lot of because even I was watching the show on Netflix of like How to Get Rich, and it's like,
I think I seen that on there, and I didn't watch it. I was watching this other one. I was watching what's it called? It's the the Betancourt family. Did you see that one?
I saw it popped out on like my Netflix.
Yeah, so it's like an old lady, and apparently like she's worth like 30 billion euros like at the beginning, but then she's worth a lot more now. But anyway, it's from her family made money from like L'Oreal. I think her dad was the one who created it. Anyway, that's the one I was like kind of. I don't watch Netflix much, but like when we catch a show, it's either Selling Sunset, obviously, or. And I keep, so funny. I keep telling people about Working Moms.
Dude, it's so hilarious.
I keep telling everybody now. Ever since I watched at your house, everyone's like, "Oh, have you seen this on Netflix?" I'm like, "No." I'm like, "But have you seen Working Moms?" Like that shit's kind of corny, but it's funny at the same time.
Because it's one of those like even like when I told you about it, you looked at me like.
I don't even know if you told. Did you ever tell me about it?
No, because we were chilling at my house. I think we were going out, and he's like, "I'm pulling up on you." And
And
I can't remember what we do, and I was watching because I was still cleaning and shit, and then we're chilling. And then like I was just, and you're just like, what the fuck are you watching? And then like you just got into it, and I like 3 episodes later, you're still in it. And then even like next is like, yeah, bro, like that shit is actually pretty fire.
It's funny, man. It's like cheesy funny. It's kind of like Kim's Convenience type of like comedy, you know.
And also because I think it's like Canadian based too, so a lot of it's just like
I could tell by the
relatable.
The TTC or whatever. I could tell by the trains that it's from Mississauga.
Yeah, but I was like, anyway, like it's not even like I was watching like that show, like How to Get Rich, and a lot of it too is like just talking about like how people get overwhelmed by like debt and like how they'll have like, you know, like it's obviously about like making more money, but it's not even that. It's just like having like a healthy budget where it's like a lot of people like have a budget and they don't stick to it, and they kind of like also it becomes restricted where it's like this is probably like I've made more money this year, but I've also had a plan. Because the way just my life was, I had to have a plan of like how to pay off the debt, and even like for example, like things like my credit score, like I know it affected me, but I never really knew how bad it was and just like how to like get it up. So for example, like closing accounts, like there was like months, like the first couple of months of the year, I was like, fuck, I didn't like do anything, man. Like I didn't even like, that's why I didn't have a couch and all this stuff. I was like, fuck, let me get my credit up. Let me do all this shit.
Yeah.
Close some shit that was like gone to collections and all that shit.
Yeah.
It was like me just like sitting down and having that conversation. Like, fuck, like for years I let this shit happen. How do I get back to it? And it's how do I like set up a budget? Like how much do I have to make every single like month, and also how much do I like, what are all my bills, how much do I need to save, like okay, like investing into gear, like because even like there have been times where it's like I've sold gear to buy new gear, and like there's a lot of times where like fuck, it's a little slower this month, I'm like I'm gonna sell this like piece of gear that I don't have,
for sure,
that I haven't used in months, I'm like
that you don't need.
So it's like there's a lot of shit like that where it's just like just learning, and just like even during the pandemic it's just like watching a lot more shows, just like trying to learn that shit, and it's like it's not that hard, man. Even for things I think,
it's not.
Yeah,
it's just the discipline of doing it.
Yeah,
you know, what's so funny is because I seen a video. It was either on TikTok or Instagram where I don't know. He was making a joke, but it's like a reaction video where he watched something and then he reacts to it.
Yeah,
he's like, you know, your homie's down bad when he's selling his console, yo. He sells his console. You know, your boy's fucking hurting.
Yeah.
He's like, I've been down bad before. I had a sneaker collection. You know what I'm saying? I had to sell a couple sneaks because I was, I didn't sell the whole collection, but I was down bad a little bit. I had to sell a couple Jordans, fucking get that bread back up. And he's like, that just reminded me of that. It's funny. But that's good, man. Like credit score, especially. Most people don't educate themselves on the credit score. Yeah. And like credit score, you don't really need a credit score unless you're looking to borrow money.
Yeah.
Like if you're not looking to borrow anything, then you don't really need a credit score.
Yeah.
But obviously if you want a mortgage for a house, you're borrowing money for a mortgage, you're going to need a credit score.
Yeah.
If you're not paying all cash for a fucking car, you're going to need car payments and a loan for that. So anytime you need a loan of any kind, that's when a credit score is needed. But like if you don't plan on borrowing any money or buying a house, or everything that you buy is kind of cash, then you don't really need a credit score, but most people don't have
But even with that, that's one of the things you're talking about. Is like a lot of people, it's like there's this general just like thing of like the status quo is like, oh, like, I have to buy a house.
Yeah.
And that's what he's saying in the show. Like there's this one woman who was like 27, like gymnast or whatever, and she's like, she had bought a house at 27, but it was putting it in debt, and she's like, you don't really need to buy a house. Like a lot of people like don't need to buy a house, they can rent for a couple years up until they get to the point where it's like when it's like the credit score is up and they actually like it financially makes sense. But there's that thing of like, oh, like I have to buy a house, and then that becomes your biggest investment, and then you end up being in debt, where like you have like, for example, like especially in the States where it's like student loans or even just like credit card loans, where it's like, or even like so much. There's this one couple where it's like she had got a bag, like I think a Louis bag or something for like $2,000, and she owed like I think the same amount on the credit card. It's like if you just use that money and paid it off. And like they were making decent bread, like a lot of them. Like there's this one, I think they were making like collective as a house like maybe $300,000.
Yeah.
But their debt was so crazy where it's like if you just again like paid the full amount off your credit card, and not just making the minimum payment. There was like I think the rate they were going, like they would get it paid off in like 20 years. Instead of it like, oh, if they just like made the full payment, it would be like 13 years. It was like 7 years difference, man. It's like it's a big difference, right? So.
A lot of what people make the mistake of doing is getting consumer debt. It's just like they have no money, but then they're buying these things. They're buying like a new TV or a laptop but like the only debt that let's say you have no money, and like you're going to rack up like credit card debt, like $3, $4, $5,000. The only thing that I'd be like, I get it, is if you're like traveling or vacation. Like if you do it on experiences, that I'm kind of like, okay, I totally understand. Like even though you don't have money, and I wouldn't recommend doing what you're doing, that one I get, because like I feel like experiences is the one thing in life that like you could sacrifice everything, family and experiences.
But and that's exactly what he was saying too. It's like a lot of it too. It's like a lot of people can't afford to travel. It's like they're just spending shit on like again dumb stuff where it's like, oh, like I'm getting a new bag. Like even for me, it's like, oh, like now it's Black Friday. Like it's like, oh, like I have hella rings, but I'm like on there like looking at these stores, I'm like, yeah, it's like it's 50% off, but it's like 50% off like maybe like $300. I'm like, oh, like, whereas like I was like the mindset I have now, it's like, okay, if I use that money to buy like this new lights, I can still get deals on that, right? And like that's actually something that's gonna make me money instead of something that's like. So it's like just that mentality that's a little different.
I think a lot of people need to like what people would do instead of like let's say buying a house. So like let's say they put a down payment down. Like you should be putting 20%, but most people don't.
Yeah.
But let's say they're buying something for 500,000, 20% is 100 grand. So it's like, I don't even know if people are putting down 100 grand, but I'd rather use that 100 grand to like take courses and do all these other things that are like either gonna allow me to make more money.
Yeah.
So like get a certificate or get a master's degree or bachelor degree or whatever, and then allow myself to have it so I can make more money.
Yeah.
So now my salary just went from 110 to 145 because I'm certified in a certain thing and I'm knowledgeable, and then once I get better at it, or into your business if you own a business, where it's like, why would you put 100 grand down on a house when you could put 100 grand down on your business and go from making 500K a year to be making 725, and then now you made that 100 grand even more if you just waited a year or two and put it into your business as opposed to putting it into a house. But I don't know, like people just have the wrong information.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, because even for that too, like there's nothing wrong with like debt. Like even for example, like, if it's like this conversation even with you and me, like there's things like that can help automate, even for example, like with us posting content where it's like we're paying a monthly or yearly subscription, but it's saving us so much time, because like that time that we're spending like posting or spending on that stuff,
you'd be doing something
if it's just like, you know, we pay for the subscription, like it then frees up our time so we can actually make more money.
For sure.
So it's like things like that where it's just like automating like your life, where it's like that type of stuff makes sense, right? And like there's gonna be like, you get it, like running a business, there's gonna be fixed costs. Like for me, it's like I have to pay like for my editing software. Like there's so much shit where it's like I have to pay.
Equipment repairs,
right?
All that stuff.
But like, there's a lot of it, like a lot of people just like just out here balling. Even this year, like I had a lot of fun. But it was because like now I didn't have that pressure of like always having to do like date nights or like, you know, go out to a fancy place. So like we went out so much. But it was like more like, oh, like there were times where like, bro, like nah, this weekend, bro, I need to chill. Like it just doesn't make sense with my budget. And actually like having a budget and seeing like how much money I'm making and actually like tracking that shit too, like how much am I spending?
Gotta track it, man. If you don't track it, like unless you're making a shitload of, you have to track it regardless.
But even if you're making a shitload of money though,
you still have to track it. Because like you'll be surprised once you track it how much you're actually spending and like where it goes, because you think like $7 here, $15 here, $12, but you like collect that over a month, you're like, fuck, I just spent like $700 on a bunch of bullshit.
Dude, that's the thing, because even for me, a lot of things, so I downloaded Mint.
Like that's a trip, bro.
Yeah,
that's like that's
exactly what I'm saying. It's
back
like
for two people to go somewhere easily.
So I had old subscriptions to shit I hadn't even used for like the past 2 years, bro. But it was charging me like, even I think it was like $15 every single month. So like over like 2 years, bro, it was like, again, same thing, right? So it's like the moment like, you know, like the app shows you those things, I'm like, oh, like, are you actually using the subscription and like canceling it out? I'm like,
it doesn't have, something you have to go into your subscription and kind of look. I did that too. And I'm just like, there's no point. Like, I'm even going to get that like little fancy box where you get every channel. Like, man, fuck TELUS. Why am I paying for TV, dog?
Because even for me, man, like with
the only reason I pay for cable is because of basketball. Like I have DAZN for football. The only reason is for basketball. Like otherwise, I don't use it. And for Law and Order reruns. You know?
Sometimes you just gotta
Special
put.
victims.
Oh, you're one of those.
I'm on that shit hard. But like sometimes, like especially during the fall, winter, they always put that fucking Hallmark bullshit on that channel, because I think it's the women's channel or some other channel. But like those are the only two reasons. It's either fucking Law and Order SVU or it's basketball, and it's basketball season. So you know I have to have cable. But I might get that little box. I think the box is like $200 to have the box. After that, it's like $50 a year or something like that. Something stupid. I think the box is illegal. So
I was
actually
not
going to get it. But wink, wink. But that like cutting down like unnecessary costs. It does add up, man. Little things add up. Like $7 here, it does add up. And if you keep track of it, then all of a sudden you're able to do more shit over like a span of a year. But budgets are very important. Most people don't have a budget. I have a budget. Like I could tell you how much my life costs in my notes. Like I have like, okay, this much a month for a haircut, this much a month this, that. TELUS, this. Boom. I need this much. How much am I going to pay myself? That much. And that's including like savings, investing, whether it's like $1,000 in like Wealth Simple. Nah, I don't do that anymore, but like people do that. But like $1,000 in savings, $1,000 for taxes, I have that all on my phone. So I could just pull that up in 2 seconds. And then obviously I could adjust it where I'm like, I cut out this, or I'm growing my hair out and I don't need a haircut, but I still got to get a lineup. So, you know, it's just it went from 50 to 25. So, you know, you can just adjust it. But having a budget's so key, and most people don't have a budget. Like, if you walk the street and be like, can you show me your budget right now? They'll be like,
most
what?
People don't.
They don't. And then they wonder why they have no money.
So I have a question for you, because I mean, like, I obviously have known you for a long time and like know your story too. Like, how did you get to that point? Because even for you, like, it's like a lot of people see like this, right? Because you've moved like this, like what, third location, like, and like you've upgraded, and like even for us, you moved into this location like during the pandemic too, when like gyms were closing down and shit, right? So it's like, how did you get to that point? Like, what is that? Like, what were the steps? Or like looking back, like, how did you get to that point?
Well, that's a good question. How did I get here? I don't know. I work a lot.
Yeah.
So that's number one.
Yeah.
And like work is so generalized, but like specifically. So it's like one, it's like client retention.
Yeah.
So focusing on the clients that I have, and like the thing is that like probably like you can't like everybody. And not that I don't like everybody. I do like everybody that's here, but you can't be friends with everybody.
Yeah.
Because like you'll have a nice person, but like personality wise, like you would just never hang out with them. But realistically, probably like 75% of the people that come here, I've either hung out with before, or I would hang out with if I wasn't as busy. Like if I was like, hey, we should go play basketball or go grab a beer or whatever the case may be. So I've hung out with I hang out with a lot of our community. Yeah. Obviously, I don't hang out with most of the women. Yeah. Because whether they're married or have kids or whatever, it's just like. But like when they're in here, we're friends. And then some of the guys, like we hung out with Nash, and like Nash is a cool guy, and like fucking obviously Al, and we plan to go to dinner with Marco and his wife, and so going out and hanging out with the actual community. So that's number one, is like the people that I have here I actually like. Yeah. So like that helps, is the client retention, and then it's also getting your name out there and like promoting not just their business but what you do. And what's cool about us is that we do like we're not for everybody, and I don't want to be for everybody. Like my goal is not to have everybody work here, or like everyone in Burnaby work out here, or everybody in the area work out here. Like we're a very specific type of training, and I'm a very specific type of trainer. And the way that I'm like a no bullshit kind of guy, where it's like no bullshit as in like, yes, you have this X, Y, Z, okay, but cool, we still have work to do. Yeah. And we still need to get it done. So it's like, you had a bad day today. Everyone has bad days. Yeah. And like, obviously that sucks. I wish you didn't have a bad day, but like, you're here now. So let's work out and let's get this work done and let's try our best. And then we can go back to being like upset or depressed or whatever. But most people don't feel depressed after the workout anyway. Yeah. But it's like no bullshit. It's like no complaining. We're not whining because it's raining outside and we have to go for a jog and like, or we're doing bear crawls. Like we're not doing that. Yeah. What I have programmed, or what we're doing, or what the warm-up is, or what the workout is, we're doing that. And the reason we're doing it is, one, we're doing it because it sucks. Yeah. So that's what people have to understand when they're here. Like, it's not going to be easy. And I don't want it to be easy, and it shouldn't be easy. Otherwise, you'd be doing it on your own. You're here because, one, you either don't know what you're doing, so you need a coach. Yeah. Two, you do know what you're doing, but you don't have the motivation or the self-discipline to do it on a consistent basis. Yeah. So you show up in a scenario or an environment that will allow you to do that with like-minded people. And those are the main two. Or three, you like the environment. Like, I could work out in I could do a Peloton at my house. Yeah. Or but I like with the energy of being around people. Yeah. Right? So it's like, it's either one of those three. You either don't know, you either do know, but you don't have the discipline, or you just like the environment and the community. And those are the people that are here. Yeah. But regardless, what we're here to do is we're here to get better. Yeah. And I feel like we're the best at that. Yeah. I feel like, because I don't allow it to slack. One, especially technique. I'm always fixing technique, and like we have to do it properly. I don't care how much you lift. I'm not impressed, because I'll lift more than you. Yeah. So it's like, I'm not impressed by how much you lift. I'm impressed by how well you lift it. Yeah. And then I'm also impressed by your effort. Those are the two things I care about. Obviously, different coaches are different, but here it's like, boom, are you doing it properly? Do you know what you're doing? And every time you do it, are you trying to do it properly and make it look like it's supposed to look like? And then two, are you trying your hardest? Because if you try your hardest, you're going to get better. Yeah. If you go for a run and you try your hardest on that run, if you can do that consistently enough, you're going to get better. If you try hard in your nutrition and you're disciplined, you're going to get better. So it's like effort. And like effort is 100% number one that I care about. Yeah. Because like everyone, like some people's body awareness, they just can't, and it takes them a lot longer. Exactly. I could show you how to do something, you'll pick it up in a day. Yeah. I could show someone else the same thing, and it'll take them fucking 3 weeks. I could show someone the same thing. It could take them 6 months until they finally do it properly, right? So, and they all could be trying just as hard. Yeah. Some people's body, but it's the effort. Are you trying? Everyone can try.
Yeah.
And that brings up a good point because it's like I heard very, very nice individual at the gym, but I heard him say, I asked him a question. I was like, imagine if like everything you did, you tried your hardest.
Yeah.
Like just imagine. Like there's very few people who do it. But there's a lot of people that do it in every aspect of your life. Like whether it's your relationship, like when you're with your spouse, imagine if you tried hard.
Showing up,
Like imagine like if you actually sat down, had a conversation, eye contact, thought about what they said, processed it, and then thought of a comeback to go, and then back and forth, and you're actually, as opposed to like changing the channel and half-ass doing it. Imagine if you cooked, you were trying the best to like the presentation and like how much you were putting into it and the time and making sure, okay, I'm going to cook the noodles.
100%,
When I'm working out, I'm going hard. Like even though I'm like going to fucking sprint that last little bit, there's only 15 seconds left. I was like, imagine if everything you did, you tried your hardest. Yeah. Like where would you be? And he said, I don't think that's possible.
Yeah, I think I remember the comments.
And then I was just like, I was like, I literally was like, and the first thing I thought as soon as he said that, I was like, fuck, I can't be around you. And like, it's not that I can't, like I can be around him.
But it's like I can't put you in my close circle.
No, I can't spend an excess amount of time around you knowing that's how you think. Yeah. Because for me, I'm trying to get to a point where I do that.
And I think, because I remember, because it's like, and it's funny because even like, because we had this conversation during the week, even just like, I think once the last one we filmed was 2 weeks ago, when you're just like, oh, you can't always be like in defense, right? And like, me and you went back and forth that day, but it's only when I sat down and I thought about it. Because even for me, like, I remember like thinking, being like him, where it's like, you can't do everything 100%. And I'm like,
why not?
And I was like, you can, but it's like every single day, your 100% isn't going to look the same.
Exactly.
But the fact that you even have the mindset is what's stopping you. Exactly. And that's been like, for me, like one of the biggest changes for me is like exactly what you're saying, where it's like trying to give it my all to every aspect of your life. And that's what even like one of my favorite motivates he talks about. He's like, a lot of people, you don't have a problem making money, or like there's certain aspects of your life that are great. But it's like, how can you be making X amount, like be a millionaire, but you're a shitty dad, and be satisfied with that? And a lot of it too is because like a lot of it, like we just like make excuses, and you don't want to, again, like work 100%. And again, every day is different, right?
Yeah, it's a tough, it's tough, and it's something that to kind of be self-aware about, where you're looking yourself in the mirror, and at the end of the day, only you're going to know. So you could tell Stanley, you could be like, oh man, I tried my hardest, and I have to like kind of take your word for it, because like you don't know, but like everyone could look themselves in the mirror and know. And like perfect point is like, you're right. You could still give 100% in everything you do every day, but the 100% may not look the same.
Exactly.
So it's like, I may go for a run today and like get a PR, or like PR my 1 mile. I'll be like, oh shit, I got fucking 6:20. And then next time I do it, I'm getting 6:53, and I'm like, fuck, I fucking booked it, and like, I couldn't go any faster.
Yeah.
And I'm like just talking to myself, and I know like I pushed it and I tried, and my body just, or whatever the case may be, but like, there's nothing I had left. There's nothing I had left. And the 100% is going to look different. Yeah. I did it 2 days ago and I PR'd. So I get that, but it's just the effort, man.
Yeah.
And so like here, it's like the effort is number one for me, and then also how, like, are you trying to get better?
Yeah.
So like, what are your intentions in coming here? Are you just coming here to check the box? I'm like, that's not going to fly, because I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see you're coming to check the box. Like, no. I need a little better than that. And that's the cool thing about our community. So that was number one in terms of how, quote unquote, we got here. Was one, the community that we already had was being friends with, like actually liking them, and we like each other, and people hang out. People in the gym like hang out with each other outside the gym that they didn't know before they got here and stuff like that. So the community is tight in terms of that. And then focusing on getting new clients and like just showing people what we do here, and then having people try it. And some people try it and they don't like it. Some people, they try it, they hate it. Some people, they try it, they love it. Some people, they try it, they like it, but then end up moving. So it's just constant just communication with the outside world on like, this is what we do, this is what we're about, and if you're like-minded, come try us out and see if you like it. And if you do, great, let's talk, let's figure something out, let's try to achieve whatever you're looking to achieve. But yeah, it's just constantly doing that, and then not being afraid, and then as you feel like things are going well, if that's your goal, is to continue to grow. But I feel like if you're not growing, you're kind of dying, because like you can't maintain, because someone else is going to come into your neighborhood, and someone else is going to come into your job, and someone else is going to come in and take what you want. So if you just like kind of just stay stagnant, like, okay, I have the perfect, I'm not taking any more clients, then you lose one. You're like, okay, I'm not going to get that one back. I'm getting like someone to replace it. I'm good where I'm at. Like you're just going to start losing. And then that's what a lot of the businesses closed wasn't because of COVID. It's because everything was going so well that they stayed stagnant. And then once someone threw a wrench in it, which was COVID, where it's like, boom, now all of a sudden you were living paycheck to paycheck or you were spending all the business's money that it was creating. And it was fine for the past 2, 3, 4 years, but now as soon as the money stops, all of a sudden you have no savings, and you have no safety net, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, like I need the government, like help me out, like you guys can't just like da 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 da. It's like it sucks, but like everyone's going through it. So like you have to also be aware that like you can't be just sitting on your laurels. So we never did that. We were always making sure like okay, if anything stopped, we'd be able to pay for our expenses or like pay our bills for at least like 2, 3, 4, 5 months. And then when we did make money, let's make sure we're not like just like paying ourselves all of it and spending it and like all of a sudden just like trying to ball out. And then once we saw that people were like hearing rumors and stuff like that, because you always hear stuff about like the community that you're in or the industry that you're in. Then it's like, okay, is this a good time to expand? So when we get out of this and people start coming again, they're looking at the bigger picture. Like they're looking at the person like, oh, this person was growing when things were bad. Like they must be doing well, or like they must be offering something that's worth, like, you know, like that is worth my money or worth people's money, because they would have went down like everybody else.
And then even like that too, even it's like, I think it goes by your philosophy, like not playing defense. Because even I remember like we were in work together, like, I think the first half of like the pandemic, but one thing you guys were doing is like you let like the community take like weights and stuff, and you guys were doing like online like program, like you were doing like videos with the iPhone.
Oh, I did so many videos, man.
Which is crazy. Like, it's like
I'm close to 100 videos.
And like that's what I'm saying. A lot of people again like would have been like, like you know, like we're closed, you know, we're not gonna make money, all that shit, but like just like play defense. But you guys always attacking,
trying to figure out a way.
It was like, and that's
okay,
the thing.
We can't do it. What can we do? Let's do that. Even outside workouts, like people were getting upset because we were doing outside workouts. I'm like, are you guys serious? You guys listen to everything that they say? This is before we had all the information. But like in my head, I'm like, there's no way we're gonna die from this. Like if it was that, it would be a bit more. It would feel a bit more serious than just like, oh, like can't go to work, but you can go to the liquor store. And you can go to your groceries. But try to go to the grocery store once a day or once a week or whatever the fuck they were recommending at that point. So I was just like, okay, it doesn't seem like we're gonna die from like touching each other. Not like we were anyway, but okay. If that's
also,
we're
working out outside 6 feet. Of
like we're working out outside within all this fresh air. Like I think it's gonna be fine. And people were upset about that, and I'm like, I don't give a fuck. People were like, the government's like, check your vax passes. I'm like, I'm not checking no vax nothing. If you want that as a regulation, I'm not doing your job for you. I'm not doing your job for you. So if you want to have someone standing outside my gym checking people who come in and come out, that I can't control. But if you want me to do your job for you and me not get paid for it, and at the same time, simultaneously, because of all this propaganda and all this information you're trying to put out to scare people, my business is suffering, there's no fucking way. So you either plant somebody outside these doors to check fucking vax passes, or you can go fuck yourself. And I openly did it, and I told people, you can come here. Hey, this is what we're doing. We're either gonna, you can be vaccinated, you can be unvaccinated. If you feel uncomfortable, don't come. If you feel comfortable, by all means, the doors are open. This is how we're doing it. But I'm not gonna start turning my back on my community because I'm scared. Like, that's what weak leaders do. And I know a bunch of people who own gyms and a bunch of other CrossFit gyms that are owned by weak leaders. People who kicked people out of their gym because they weren't vaccinated. And people that were checking vaccination passes and wouldn't let people in until they were fucking vaccinated. And I'm like, first of all, this person has been supporting your business for the past 6 months, year and a half, 3 years. And because the government said something and it's against what they want to do, whether it's religious-wise or just their choice to not put something random fucking juice or vaccination into their body, you're all of a sudden going to turn your back on the people that supported you? You're a fucking coward to me. And I fought with a lot of people over it, online, publicly, and I don't give a fuck. I'm going to tell you to your face. Like, I think you're a fucking weak individual. I think you have no backbone. I think when shit gets tough, all you do is just grab your life coat and say, fuck everybody else. And that's not the way things are supposed to be done. Especially as a leader, especially as someone who owns a business. So I saw a lot of people do it, and I called them out. I'm like, you talked about community and CrossFit's this, and like, all these years, and look what happens as soon as the first time the first time you got a wrench thrown in your situation and shit got tough, you fucking turned your back on the so-called community that you were all about before. I'm like, you can go fuck yourself. And like a lot of people just like saw that happen, and then shit got clear again, and like COVID was like over, and then totally forgot that these people did that. I'll never forget.
Yeah.
I'll never forget. Every single person, the same fucking lady at Tim Hortons that wouldn't let me order because I fucking wore a mask, I don't even let her fucking take my order. And she's still working at the same one. I'd be like, I want someone else to take my order. Me and her were friends before. Yeah. At the Kensington location, beside, dude, me and this old lady were friends. I remember,
was it the old white lady?
The old white lady. We were like, she was always like, hi, da 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 da. And I'm like, oh, good, yeah, just at the gym, da da da. Had a little break, and then all of a sudden, COVID happens. The same fucking lady would not let me order because I wasn't wearing a mask. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm like, you guys, like, what do you guys think is gonna happen? Do you guys think COVID's gonna be here forever? Even if, like, I had no information, just like everybody else.
Yeah.
But one thing I did know was, if you just look at history, what the fuck stays forever? The Black Plague, a war, like, it's going to end eventually.
Yeah.
We're going to get to a point where we get back to normal. Obviously, we're there now, but, like, we're going to get back to normal. So make sure you act accordingly, because when it does get back to normal, I'm going to fucking remember this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not just going to be like, oh, it was a tough time, you were scared, I'm going to brush off that you were a fucking asshole to me. There's no chance.
But I think it goes back to, the conversation, we had this conversation, like, a couple of weeks ago, and you even posted, like, the preacher I was talking about, he was like a lot of people don't have a standard. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of it too is like, it's when you have that standard, like, it's like if you say your community, right? And then like certain things happen, like, it's so weird, because like that's one thing I've been learning, especially this year. It's like we've had this conversation, this shit that has happened, where it's like, it's only when shit hits the fan when you see like people's true standards or value.
That's it.
And it's wild, because even like for me, it's like during that time it didn't make sense. I'm like,
you're pussy.
You're telling people like to be healthier, but it's like when you're like, groceries are way more expensive. If you should be like saying like, let's eat healthier, like subsidize like groceries and shit like that, but you can't work out.
Pussies, man. I'm telling you. Like that's why I don't have a lot of friends. Like the close friends that I have are literally like me.
Yeah.
Like Warren's like me, like Vivi's like me in like certain ways, but like the people that I hang out with are like me, where they're like, it's like no bullshit. Yeah. It's like the way that they are in one situation is the way that they are in all situations. There's no letting it slide. Yeah. It's like, it doesn't matter if it's a good day, bad day, black, white, dark, light, like they're the same person. And those are the people I fuck with. I don't fuck with people who are one way in front of a crowd and then behind closed doors they're another way. Like, no.
But I think it's an additional layer to it. It's like they're the same throughout, but even when they do slip, like when you as your friends go and have the conversation with that person, they're actually gonna listen to it, be like, yo, like this guy gives a fuck about me and my friends. And that's the thing. It's like, it's not even for me, like people can change. Like you can change. Like I'm not the same person I was 6 months ago, even like 2 years ago. Yeah. But I think for me it's like having people who have the same values as you and can hold you to those values, and like me being open to have that conversation, because you and I have had many conversations on different shit and we've disagreed, but like the fact that we've even be able to have that conversation, I value it. Like even like for example, like I'm saying like 2 weeks ago when you're like, bro, like you're always playing defense, I might have argued with you like for like that whole 2 hours, but I went home and I'm like, you know what, bro, you were actually right, and like I have been playing defense for most of my life, and here's why. It just took me having that conversation with you to realize that. But a lot of people aren't even open to having that conversation. They think when someone is like criticizing you, right, they're like coming after you, but it's like, no, like the people you actually give a fuck about, like you actually would have a conversation. You wouldn't have that same conversation like some random person's like walking in the street.
Yeah, people don't understand. Like if not just me, but like using me as an example, if I'm telling you something or I'm criticizing you, it's because I want to see you do better. It's not that I'm like shitting on you. It's like, no, I think as your friend, I'm seeing how you're moving, and I don't agree with how you're moving. So let's have a conversation. If we have a conversation and we talk about it, and I'm like, and I hear your foundation or your backup or whatever your reason of doing what you're doing is, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I'm not just gonna stand on this and be like, this is what Stanley needs to do, regardless of what his background situation is. It's like, oh, no, Stanley's doing something that I don't think is right. Not just for me, I just mean for Stanley himself. So let me have a conversation. Then all of a sudden I find out something may happen. I'm like, oh, that's why. Well, now we got to well, now that I know that, maybe you should try this if this is your goal. If you want to do this, if you want to get rid of your credit, I didn't know you had debt. So I'm thinking, why the fuck isn't he saving his money? It's because you've been paying off debt this whole time. Oh, okay, I get it. Now that you're paying off the debt, once it's done, then we can kind of move. You know what I'm saying? So it's like once you have a backstory. But if I'm bringing something up to you, I'm sure, if I'm bringing it up, I know for a fact that you're not happy with it. Yeah. Like, I'm not going to bring up something that you love. Like, I'm not going to see you happy in a relationship and being like, yo, I think your girlfriend's a bitch. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to be like, yo, my boy's happy. Yeah. But, like, if I see that he's arguing with his girlfriend back and forth and she's talking shit to him and making him, and then all of a sudden I'm like, yo, like, no disrespect, man, but, like, your girl, yo, she's, like, a little disrespectful and kind of a bitch. And you're like, I could kind of, you know? Yeah. So it's like, it's not going to be the complete opposite of what you're feeling. Most likely, if I'm bringing it up, it's something you already know. Right? But, like, most people are afraid to take criticism or not even take it.
I think it's not even being afraid. I think
they think it in their head, but as soon as it's said out loud, it makes it real. I'm like, bro, it's real regardless. Yeah. If it's in between your ears or said out loud, it's real. So, like, be a man or a woman and face it and get past it. And, like, if it's gonna take you a year to get over something, why would you want to take a year when it could take 3 months?
It's because people don't it's hard, and like that's the thing. It's like you have to pick your heart, right? Because even like I was finding I was reading something. I think it's been going on the internet for a while, but it's like that's what it is. It's like, oh, like marriage is hard, divorce is hard. Choose your heart. Like obesity is hard.
Making money is hard, but being
that's exactly what it is. Like it's like being in debt is hard, but being financially disciplined is hard. Choose your heart. Yeah. Communication is hard, but not communicating is hard too. So choose your heart. And that's the thing. It's like a lot of it too. It's like whether you make a choice or not, a choice is being made.
That's it. Whether you're choosing or not, a choice is going to be made. Whether you say something to the person or if you don't say something to the person, that's a choice. And, like, having that tension is hard, but also having that conversation is hard. Yeah. But, like, which one is going to get you to your goal? Are you trying to fix the situation? Yeah. If you are, you better have that conversation.
But I think I get it, too. It's like it's only up until, like, this year, like, so once I was in that right mind frame of actually start dealing with my shit. Yeah. And also just, like, just shutting the fuck up and just letting the chips fall where they may. And like this year has been so funny, bro. Like we obviously have to talk about this. The whole Black Vancouver thing. Yeah. Literally, like was like around this time, like last year in December.
Bro, that nigga Roscoe, man. I didn't even know his name. I saw OG something, so I was like, I don't know if it's a African name. I don't know. I didn't know. But anyway, I saw the live. The fucking homie sent me the live, and I'm fucking watching. I'm like, yo. Like I don't dislike him now because like I always like I'm always pissed in the beginning, but then once time goes away, like a week, I'm kind of like whatever, fuck this nigga. But at the time, I was like, who the fuck is this goofy ass nigga talking shit, defending Black Vancouver and fucking trying to shit on the podcast? And lo and behold, a fucking year later, this guy's shitting on Black Vancouver and having issues because they won't fucking pay him or whatever the case may be, or they had some sort of deal. And I'm sitting there like, bro, I've been saying this for over a year, and you were defending some fucking people that apparently were your friends or weren't your friends, or like they were your friends or you were working with them or whatever, and you're out here defending people, and a year later they fucking go screw you behind your back, and now all of a sudden you're saying the same things that I'm saying. Like, I need an apology, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like you need to be like, hey, at the time, like I didn't understand or whatever the case may be, but like you're regurgitating everything I ever said about Black Vancouver a fucking year ago. And
that was so funny because it's when I was having a conversation with some homies this like literally the Thursday, the live, because they sent me the live, I couldn't see it. I'm like, I wasn't even at home.
Oh, you couldn't see it.
I was like, I'm being blocked. So I'm like,
I was commenting on it, and Roscoe was fucking replying to the comments I was making. I'm like, look at this fucking nigga saying the same shit I said 1 year ago. And he's like, I know, man. Like, oh yeah, it's just crazy. That I'm like, bro, that's not enough, man. Because like I've been spitting this sentiment for a year, and I've been like standing on 10 toes down saying Black Vancouver's a piece of shit. We need to find out who it is, et cetera, et cetera. Niggas like him know who it is, but are keeping it under wraps when so many people have problems with them. And clearly, like, the Black community in Vancouver is kind of like, not sure if like this is a good page to represent.
It wasn't even, dude, a lot of people, and that's what I'm saying. They blocked a lot of people.
That's what I'm saying.
It was, and that's the thing where it's like, that's the interesting thing for me, Tom, because I can't remember where I read it, but like time reveals all. Because when shit, like in that moment, you're like, that's why this year I've just been sitting down and just shutting the fuck up and like to wait. So in that situation, just let it simmer. You know, like when the shit comes out, and that's the thing, man. It's like it's funny when like that's why for me I've had to realize I don't move without like looking at the facts sometimes and just looking at it from all angles. And if I do make a mistake, just be like, yo, bro, I made a mistake. that's fucked up. How can I move? And some people are like, cool. Some people aren't. But it's like a lot of it too. Like what you said, a lot of people can't stand 10 toes down on shit.
For sure.
And want to make everyone the villain and they play that victim. Because even it's funny, like now, I think he posted, because I could still see his Facebook. He was like, now apologizing to all these people that he had, like, you know, like said wild shit to, and then I blocked him, like, yo, like, you're anti-black. And that's a conversation I was having with the homies on Thursday, where it's like, it's such a bad look on us black people, because like now we're going back at it, because one, like when we're trying to hold each other accountable, like, hey, like, so we can set a standard. Now it looks like we're fighting, and like that's why we often don't get opportunities, because I'm like, who wants to come into this drama?
Yeah, but also like one of the biggest things is that you have other black people telling other black people what being black is. What the fuck is being black?
Yeah, I was dying, because I remember like that was one of the things like they were coming at, like particularly you. Black? I'm like,
what's being black? People say anti-black. What? Because I don't agree with everything that's black. That's anti-black. I don't understand.
Yeah.
Like some people would say, oh, if you don't know how to play basketball, you're not black.
And it's so, and like we've had this conversation too, because
if you
like
play hockey, you're not black.
Because you and I are black, but it's like I would like you growing up here in like the Western world and me growing up in Africa. Our experiences being black are so different.
So different.
And like,
they say this is black, and if you're outside of this, you're not black. How the fuck does that make sense? So now you have people that are trying to represent the black community in Vancouver. And the only reason I got into an argument with these guys was only because, one, I never engaged with them until that one comment.
Yeah.
And then when I saw the repercussions of my comment, then I was like, oh, this is fucked up. Because like I commented, I was just like, you guys be posting some shit that be making black people look bad.
Which is what a lot of people had been saying. I'd been saying, and it's like
you guys are posting shit that doesn't make black people look good.
100%.
So I'm like, when I commented that, the comment got deleted. And I'm like, you guys deleting comments out here? So basically, if we don't agree with what you're posting, you're just going to delete shit. Like, you have the whole point of the internet is not to just collect a bunch. Like, obviously, I understand hate. Like, if I commented, you fucking niggers or fucking bull, I'm going to kill all you, I get it. But if you're just like, if you post something, there's going to get a reaction. You can't only allow positive reactions. That's not what the internet's for. I'm not here to stroke your ego. I'm here to see something, and if I like it, I like it. And I'll be like, oh, that's just fire, bro, or that song's fire, or fuck, that vacation looks amazing. Or if I see something I don't like, I can also comment that too.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm not going to do it out of hate, but it's also a page that is, like, when it's a meme page or a page that's posting a reaction and being like, look at this, what do you think of this? And someone comments something negative, you can't just fucking block that shit out. And if people don't like what you're posting, you can't just delete their comment and then block them. So I'm over here like, okay, cool. I don't mind you doing that, but you have to show face.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be accountable for certain things that you say, certain things that you post, and certain things that you do in repercussions for people's comments. So I'm like, on our podcast, I either reply to people or I go one-on-one with them in the comments and we go back and forth. Like, I'm not going aggressively, but like, I'm going to stand on my position, and I'm open to change my mind if you say something that allows me to change my mind or makes me change my mind. But like, you know, it's me saying it.
Yeah.
I'm not no guy wearing a mask, or I'm not someone behind a fucking IG profile picture. Like, you know, it's me. I'm not that hard to see. I'm not that hard to find. So it's like, I can be held accountable for what I say. But when you do certain things behind a page, and it's like like people use the excuse, oh, it's dangerous. Like, we don't want like racists and like other people or whatever knowing who we are, because like we're representing black community and like we've gotten death threats. Like, shut the fuck up. Whether that's true or not, shut the fuck up.
No, but the thing is, even if it is true, because it's happened with us, right?
Of course.
That's why we, for example, like our approach has changed as we've gotten bigger and like done certain things.
For sure.
Like, we like everything that we're saying, like we like hardly ever take stuff out, because like everything that we're saying,
we don't take anything out.
Yeah, it's the stuff that we believe.
Only
right?
time we've taken something out is when we've been asked to take it out, or if someone we interviewed post interview is like, oh fuck, I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
Can you not post that? But other than that, like, I'm not talking off the cuff and then fucking going afterwards and being like, fuck, man, I shouldn't have said that. No, like, everything I say in my head or saying out loud on this thing.
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
is what I'm going to think.
And that's what my point was. It's like a lot of people, I think, like, just start things and don't understand, I guess, the power and like the heat that comes with it. Because even for us, like, we've posted stuff that has gotten hate like all the 100%. Time, and we're just like, fuck, it is what it is. What it is. There's people who's gonna like it. People who's gonna hate it.
Mind on it.
But that's what I'm saying. I think a lot of it, like going back to what you were saying, a lot of people can't stand 10 toes down and just don't like accountability, because again, like, people want to hide, and I think just playing that victim mentality. It was like, oh, like, you
Always.
know, people are trying to attack. I'm like, because I think we've said it, like, you're not that special enough for like everyone to come and want to attack you, bro.
Gives a fuck
like, I'm like, the thing about it, I'm like,
no one cares. You think that, oh, there's people that are gonna like, no. You said one thing. No one gives a fuck. No one's like, who do you think you are that you're that important and that famous that like, no, that's not doesn't work.
And even when you do say it, people will probably forget about it like after like 2 or 3 weeks.
That's it. Not even that long. Like unless you're saying something like out of pocket or wild as shit.
But we've seen it even like how many times as like people like Kanye, like there's always someone who said
West,
like,
though, man, like people think they're Kanye? Like sit the fuck down, man. Like just sit the fuck down. But what people try to do is they try to express their opinion, but don't want any backlash for it.
Yeah.
They want to be able to say what they want and say what they think without anything bad coming towards them. That's not how this works. Once you put yourself out there, you have to, expect all kinds of reactions. People that agree with you, people that disagree with you, people that are angry, people that are happy, people that are sad, people that are offended, everything under the sun. You don't get to choose your reaction to what you say. That's not how it works. You don't get to take a test and then grade it yourself. That's not how the world works. That's not how it works. And if you think that's how it works, you need to get off of social media, or you need to not do a podcast, or you need to not do an interview, or you need to not comment on pages, or you maybe need to not be on the internet at all. If that's how you think it should work, or that's how you think it does work. But it doesn't work like that.
But it's not even just like the internet. It's just like in real life. There's
no,
a lot
it is the internet.
No, but I'm just saying in
real life, people don't do that.
No, but the thing is, that's what I'm saying. Even in real life, a lot of people do stuff and think that there's no there's no consequences for their actions.
But it's compounded on the internet. Because like people who are introverts and quiet and may think things in person and not say it, say it on the internet. It's just like people when they're driving, people like finger you and act like they're ready to fight when they're in a car. But as soon as you cut them off, pull over, and you get out of the car, all of a sudden situation. It's like, oh shit. So it's like, don't act a certain way that you don't act all the time.
Yeah.
So don't say something on the internet that you're not willing to say in person. Everything I say on the internet, I'm willing to say in person to that person's face.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't say it. If I'm not willing to face that person one-on-one and be like, yo, you're a piece of shit. I don't like you.
Yeah.
You're a clown. I should smack you right now. I'm not going to say that in a comment if I'm not going to say it in person. I'm not going to be like, fuck you, come slide, show up, da, 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 and do all this fucking shit talking. And then all of a sudden when you see him in person, you're buddy-buddy. Like, no disrespect. I don't even know the Roscoe guy, but, like, me and him aren't buddy-buddy. Like, I get he's having a problem with Black Vancouver, and so did I last year, and I kind of still don't like him and still want to find out. I know who it is. But still want to find out and, like, expose that. But, like, me and him aren't buddy-buddy. Like, you were talking shit on something that didn't even involve you.
Yeah.
Like, we were talking about them, and then you stuck your nose in here and had to make a post like, oh, these guys, oh, you respect, they talk about sex all the time and da-da-da-da. And I'm like, who the fuck is this nigga talking shit? We weren't even talking about him, but he had to stick his nose into it. And so, like, when I see him, me and him need to have a conversation because, like, that's not over. Because, like, you can't say something on the internet and then one person, it go a different way. That's not how it works. At least it doesn't work like that with me. So, like, I haven't seen him. I don't know. I don't even know. Like, I think if he was right beside me, I'd be able to see that it's him. Yeah. But, like, otherwise, like, if there's a big group of people, I wouldn't be able to pick him out. Some people may be able to pick me out because I'm a little tall. Like, I'm 6'3", big guy. But, like, I wouldn't be able to pick him out. So if he's DJing or doing something, I probably wouldn't notice him unless someone's like, yo, he's right there.
Yeah.
Then me and him are going to have an issue. But, like, unfortunately, like, I'm not paying attention enough to be like, is that him? Oh, that kind of looks like him. Oh, no, that's not him. Like, I wouldn't. But when I see him, like, me and him are gonna have a conversation. I'll be like, "Yo, you were talking a lot of shit online. Say it right here. What's up?"
Say it to you.
Because I don't think you want that. I don't think a physical altercation he would be up for, and I don't even think a verbal altercation he'd be up for.
Yeah.
Because whatever would happen in both would happen, but for him to say what he said last year out of pocket when it had nothing to do with him, I look at him now and I'm like, you're going through the same thing that we were going through, and I don't feel bad for you. And now you're on the other side, and you're like, fuck, maybe I shouldn't have said something to them. And you shouldn't have, because it had nothing to do with you. So mind your fucking business next time.
Yeah.
I love how people are getting in other people's business.
Dude,
like, okay, it's your boy. That's fine. Or you know the people who run it. Cool. But I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about them based off of what they did. I wasn't talking about, oh, they did something to my homie and I'm standing up for my homie. It was because they deleted my comment and they blocked me and they had an issue with what I said. And people after I commented, people were commenting on my comments like, fuck, you didn't know Black Vancouver was like this? These guys have been like this the whole time. And you started seeing people fucking agreeing with what I'm saying. And they're like, oh, we can't have this. We can't have people agreeing with what he's and then deleted the comment. So I'm like, it's an experience that I had with Black Vancouver. But this guy's looking from the outside looking in and trying to get into the game. I'm like, hey, if you want to play, we could play. If you want to get in the game that bad, let's play.
And also, like, I think for the thing was for me, it's like it was done so publicly, where it's like, bro, like if you really want to actually like have that conversation,
for sure,
he could have easily just like DM'd. And I think a lot of what you said is like some people just need to mind their own fucking business.
Mind their own fucking business.
And it's crazy because like for me, I think about it. There's a lot of situations, even just like in real life, I'm just like there'd never be a situation where like I want to like go and like insert myself in a situation because I'm just like I have way too much of my own shit to be dealing with, and I'm also like even if it is my boy, because like we've had this conversation, there's certain limits where it's like if either one of us saw like each other doing something wild, we would have that conversation. But it gets to a point where like at the end of the day, we're like, this is not my life. This is your life. Yeah. I need to mind my own fucking business.
Yeah. Or if let's say if I saw someone talking reckless about you, then I would approach that person just one-on-one and be like, hey, that's my boy. So like you gotta like I get you have a problem with him, but like kind of tone it down with the disrespect because like his drama, like his beef is my beef. Yeah. So like I don't know what's happening with you guys, but like, can we just keep it a bit more respectful and you guys try to figure it out as opposed to you going publicly and disrespecting him? But like, for me to see you have a problem with someone else, and then me publicly address that other person when that person doesn't even know who the fuck I am. Like, I'd even until he made his post or his IG thing tagging us, I had no fucking clue who this nigga was. Zero. Like, I don't know. So, like, when I see someone do something like that, I'm like, are you clout chasing? Like, are you looking for drama? Are you looking for problems? Because, like, for you to insert yourself in a Daniel and Black Vancouver situation, just either and then make a post about it. Like, who are you trying to get onto your side? Like, what do you, like, I don't even, who are you trying to bring into this? If you really had a problem with what I was saying, you would come to me directly. Because, like, who are you trying to show that you're shitting on me or shitting on the pod or shitting on us? It's like, who are you trying to, like, pump your chest up? Because I'm not hard to find, man. You could just DM me and we could meet up somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's so easy. But that's what I'm saying. A lot of it, too, is like a lot of people can't deal with that smoke of dealing with stuff face-to-face. Because even like in that situation, like I'm saying, it's crazy. Like I had one of my boys call me like last week and he was like, because I had been in like similar situations, like we're like, how did you deal with? Like basically what he was saying is like he had an issue with, I guess, an ex-friend, whatever. And then that person had gone to another friend and like, yo, you should ask that person to reach out to me. When he's like, dude, we had a conversation face to face. Yeah. Well, not, I think it was like over the phone or face to face. And he's like, and I thought we had done, like, we'd decided, like, okay, like, this is not going to work out. We're cool. Like, we're not friends anymore. Like, but the fact that, like, he had to go in and shit and, like, talk shit to someone else. Yeah. And I'm like, it doesn't make sense because I'm like, bro, like, if you have an issue with me, just say it to my face. And I think going back to what I'm saying, a lot of people want to play the victim. Yeah. And that's why they go and tell someone else the issue, because I'm like, if I have an issue with you, that the only thing that makes logical sense for me to go to be like, oh yeah, you know, Daniel, blah blah blah, you know, he wasn't doing this and that. Like, it's because I want to play the victim. I don't actually want to deal with the situation.
Bro, never trust anybody that talks shit about somebody.
100%.
Like, so I don't know if I talked about this before, but like there was a guy that I like we're like acquaintances. Yeah. Like if he walked by the street, I'd probably run outside to say what's up to him. Like he's like that kind of friend. But he was talking about a mutual friend of ours.
I think you talked about. Yeah,
and he was saying like, oh, what he was doing when he was partying or whatever. And I was like, don't, like, he was like, oh, like you want to know, like, what do you? I was like, no, don't tell me. Like, if it's a funny story or like a sketchy story or whatever, like, or like a boy's story, I'd rather him tell me, like, because he might not want people to know. Like, even though me and him are friends, he may not want me to know. Maybe we're not that tight yet for him to want me to know. But like, if it's a cool story or if it's a story about him, just fucking let him tell me. And he's like, oh man, no. So when he was in, and then he fucking told me the story, and I was like, I literally just sat there and I was like, I will never trust this guy in my life.
Because my thing, and my thing is like,
he's a great
how many of those stories of mine have you told,
bro? Zero. Even what do you mean?
That's my. It's like. If you can do that, but I'll meet your friend, right?
Exactly.
That's what my thing is like. I'm like, so how many stories have you told to other people who have come to you in confidence?
He's not there yet where I tell him a story.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But it's like
doing that. Yeah. Like I would never tell you a story.
But the thing is, like, I think that's been a hard lesson for me. Even like what you're saying too. Like I've had to learn the difference between like friends and acquaintances.
100%.
Like I think you and I are friends. Right. But even then, there's certain things of my life, and I know the same, like certain things about your life, you would never tell me because I'm like, we'll just there's certain levels.
But how many people are there that I would tell that stuff?
But that's what I'm saying. A lot of people like throw the word friend around pretty loosely. A lot of people, I'm just like, oh, like I just know that person. Yeah, like even what you said, maybe an acquaintance.
There's like, let's say the most personal stuff. There's probably like 2 people I'd tell.
Yeah.
Maybe 3. And I know, and the only reason I know is because one, the longevity has been there. So like the resume is there. There's no questions. So like they're drunk, they'll never slip. Yeah. They're drunk, they'll never snitch. They're drunk, nothing will happen. Yeah. No matter what we're fighting, if I say fuck you and your mom, you could both suck my dick, they're still not going to tell my story. You know what I'm saying? So like no matter what happens between us, there's no argument or fight that we can have
that will make someone want to go tell the story.
That'll trigger someone to tell that story. So there's only like 2 people like that. Yeah. Otherwise, you just keep that shit to yourself. Yeah. Like, first of all, a lot of people tell their business when they just should shut the fuck up and just keep it to themselves. Like, what are you telling people all your business for? Like, to what? To flex,
but this is what I'm saying though. It's like
if you need to get it out.
But this is what I was saying. That it's like people want to play the victim and want to like go run like looking for like what is it? It's like affirmation that that person
you're right in that situation.
No.
First of all, if like I said before, if anybody talks shit about somebody that you haven't met or you don't know, fucking never trust that person. Because like I don't want to mold your opinion on somebody
100%
that you haven't met. So like I'm gonna be like, hey, my experience, I think they're kind of a bitch.
And that's and that's what I was gonna say. Like I was perfect with saying this is my experience. Like it might be different. I was like, listen, like so I'm like, I don't want to stop you having that experience because of. I was like, maybe
you
like
guys become good friends.
Yeah, and I'm like, maybe like at that time he was a different person, and that does happen, right?
If you were to like him just didn't click.
Exactly.
And it's the 1 out of 5 people in his lives that
100%.
And like there's always like you'll have like 1 to 10 people in your lifetime that like you meet and you just fucking bash heads. Like you're just like, I can't fucking stand that person. And that might have been that person, but they might be a great guy. Or a great girl. So it's like I don't want to mold your decision and like you treat them differently based off of what I said. But like people want that. People don't just say it. People want that. Like people are telling you like someone will tell you a story about me and their goal doing it is so you don't like me. Like the people do that. So people will be like, the only reason I'm telling Stanley this is so Stanley thinks Daniel's a piece of shit. Or because I don't want Stanley to like Daniel. That's what people tell stories about. So like they'll tell something about a guy that they had a fight with and they're telling this girl. So they're like, I hope this girl fucking tells all her friends about this fucking, like, And I'm just like, why do people do that? People are so, it makes you look bad. Like, because first of all, you're not getting the second half of the story. You're hearing his side.
100%. Yeah.
You're not getting the other side. Because you're not going to tell me all the bad things you did.
And 100%, like half the time it's like there's my side and then there's their side and then there's the truth. Because in those situations, there's times where we both could have fucked up.
Because every time you tell a story or every time someone complains about someone else, it's always about what that person did to them.
Yeah.
Because that's why they're upset. They're 100%. Not upset because I'm not upset because of what I did to Stanley.
Yeah.
No. It's based. I'm pissed because what Stanley did. So I'm gonna tell you why I'm pissed. Stanley did this, and this. But like until you hear the other side, I'm not telling you.
No one ever stops to be like, oh, like what triggered that response? So it's like like
Stanley stole money from me. He fucking da. But what did you do? Oh shit! Well, fucking.
It might have taken his girls or
I didn't do the work that he wanted me to do or whatever the case may be, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, that's why Stanley did that. But like those don't happen in conversation.
Yeah.
So like me, don't ever trust anybody. Like ever since he did that individual, I'm like we're like from like the rest of our lives we're at arm's reach. Like I'm like I can't trust you. Because I literally, not that you would just tell me his story,
but the fact that
happened. Yeah. But the fact that I told you not to,
and you still went on and did it,
and I asked you not to.
For me, it's not even. It's the level of excitement that you have too, because that's like that for me is like that's messy, bro. That's so messy, bro.
Why do you want people to know his business? What is your end goal? I don't understand.
I don't know, man. Like it's like I'm not perfect. I have my faults, but like that's one of the things for me. I'm just like I've made a conscious decision. Like I can't be doing that
for sure. So like, even with the Black Vancouver situation, like I'm sure Roscoe's a very nice guy, and like even if we come to an agreement where he's like, hey, and the only way we're gonna come to an agreement is if he apologizes.
Yeah.
Because like it was none of his fucking business in the first place. But if that happens, then it's like, okay, we're cool. Like I don't hold grudges or like I'm not gonna,
but we're not gonna be friends.
We can't be friends because like for you to come at me
like
about
that,
a situation that you don't even fucking know 100%. About or that you're not involved in, how can we become close friends after that? Like anytime you just jump to the extreme, especially when it's a negative extreme off the jump, I'm kind of like, what? It's like if someone loves up on you and they never met you before.
Yeah.
You're like, what's wrong with this nigga? Or if someone does the opposite and just hates on you for no reason, you're like, you don't even fucking know me. So like for you not to know the situation or me or have ever met me in person, maybe you have, I don't remember you. But even if you did, it's like for you to get to that extreme off the jump, I'm like, cool, we could squash this situation if like you like say what you did and like, hey, I talked shit about you when you were talking shit about Vancouver. I shouldn't have done that. I was saying a bunch of negative stuff because now I'm on the other side and I have a problem with Black Vancouver and I get where you're at. Yeah. And I apologize for that. And it's like, cool, man, it's all good. Some people make mistakes. Yeah. I get it. But like, that's cool. That's. But
that's thing is like going back to what I said earlier. A lot of people make decisions, one based off emotions, and also just like without all the right information.
Yeah. Like, what are you getting into your emotions for? You're supposed to be a man. You're supposed to be a man. Like, control yourself. Like, what do you like? Guys who get angry out of nowhere. I'm like, are you? I don't understand.
Yeah, and because we've had this conversation, because you and I have gone back and forth. That's like, there's nothing wrong with the emotions. It was like what you do with the emotion.
No, it's not. You can have them. Everyone has emotions, but
it's like you
are they gonna dictate your 100%. Actions in every situation? Because you're sad, you're gonna cry when you're at the gym, or you're gonna cry when you're in class. Like, it's like you failed the test. I get it. You're sad and upset, and you should be because you tried hard, but you failed. But like, there's a time and place. Yeah. Like, you can't just, like, let these emotions control you where now you're in a situation where, like, it has you look in a certain type of way. It's like, oh, no, it's totally okay. No, it's not okay. Yeah. It's not okay to be acting or for you to act a certain way in a certain situation unless you're ready to eat that. Yeah. If you can lay in the bed you made, totally fine. If you don't care what you look like when you bawl in front of a bunch of your, like, classmates because you failed the test, fine, whatever. Don't care. Cool. If people want to be like, oh, you fucking cried like a bitch, and you're like, yeah, I did. Cool, and you can eat it, fantastic. But you can't also do it and then be like, why is everyone fucking judging me on like da-da-da-da? Like, no, because you couldn't control yourself. So, like, you did something to me, it pissed me off, but I had the emotional control to be like, you know what? I'm just going to either remove myself from the situation or I'm just going to hold it in, let it slide, so we can have a conversation later.
Yeah, that's wild to me, bro.
That's wild. Yeah. But, like, if you want to get pissed off and all of a sudden punch someone in the face, you got to deal with the consequences of that. And if you're willing to, then I'm not going to say that you were wrong, because like you knew what was going to happen if you punched him in the face, or you knew what was going to happen if you smacked him, or you knew what you're going to happen if you fucking called your teacher a bitch. You got suspended. You got to deal with the consequences. But like, have a bit more emotional control.
And that's the thing, a lot. It's like going back to what I think I've said it so many times today, but it's like a lot of people want to play that victim mentality and don't want to take ownership for that situation, because in any situation, it's a two-way street. There's there's always, and like that's the thing where it's like, it's been an interesting lesson I've been learning with like there's situations that I fucked up, and then I've tried to apologize and make amends, and people are like, nah, bro, fuck that. But then I get it, because like the people have done wild shit to me, and then like, I'm on the receiver, and I'm like, nah, bro, I'm cutting this shit off. I'm like, I can't do it, because I'm like, this doesn't make sense. Like, how are we supposed to like recover from this situation?
You can and you can't, depending on who you are and how bad the situation is. But it's one of those things where it's like, I'm never gonna allow someone to act like they didn't have control. You had control. He hit me first. You could have decided not to hit him back. I'm not saying that you should have.
Yeah.
The way I handle things, if he hit you first, I'm totally okay with you hitting him
100%.
back. Self-defense, all that stuff. But I'm saying, don't act like you didn't have a choice. Like 100%. Someone grabbed your hand and fucking hit him. Like,
because the fight doesn't happen with just one person.
That's it. So like, you have to as long as you realize you did have a choice and you have to live with the choice that you made. Like, it's cool. It's like, I smacked him, and I do it. If that situation happened again, I do it 10 out of 10 times again. Cool. I'm totally okay with that. It's just the opposite. When you do something and then you're not accountable for it, and you try to blame the person or you try to blame your circumstance, like, oh, I just saw red. Congratulations, you still had a choice. I don't really care. Yeah. Or you still could have saw the video or saw what we posted, been pissed off, but then slid in the DMs, like, you guys need to shut the fuck up and da-da-da-da, and not made it public. But now I got fucking screenshots and I got fucking screen recordings of you and your fucking posts that, like, if anything happens, I'll be like, remember when you said this? Because you made it public. Once it's public, we got it. It's over. I got screenshots. I got receipts.
Yeah, and that's the. It's funny because earlier in the year, like I was talking to my one friend. I was like, I remember when he was saying this to me, and he's like, bro, like in any situation I have, I keep receipts. Not with the intent of like me using them maliciously, but it's like if a situation was to ever happen, I'm like, listen, on this day you said this, I responded this way,
and then what? Now what? I have it. It's right here.
Because when you have that, you can't refuse that information.
People will be like, I didn't say that, or I didn't do that. I'm like, what's this, bro? Like, you just keep it just to have. And then eventually you delete it if you don't need it or whatever the case may be. But, like, if me and you are having an argument in the DM and you're getting disrespectful, and then I see you and I smack the fuck out of you and people are wondering why, I'll be like, this is right here. I told them, like, watch your mouth. You're talking a little reckless because if you see me, I'm going to smack you.
On sight.
Fuck you, nigga. What's up? I dare you to smack me when you see me. And then you get smacked and people are wondering why. This is exactly.
I think this is the problem why like now, because I think we grew up in a time where like that shit would happen. You wouldn't be talking recklessly because you're getting smacked.
Because there's a couple people that would have been smacked long time if I fucking haven't owned a business and I didn't make myself as public as I am, like on the podcast and like on TikTok or whatever the case may be. Like if I was like someone that no one really knew and I didn't have friends, like I would be smacking people all the time for disrespecting me.
Yeah.
But like when I get road rage and someone cuts me off and I'm like, what the fuck? And they finger me, like I can't get out of my car and like be like, what's up? Because like
I think sometimes you have to do that, bro. Because
like,
people get
Daniel
disrespectful.
English, the fucking owner of this gym on this corner. And then you're like, okay. Just like what happened with you know what I'm saying?
But the thing is, here's my thing. I get that. But sometimes you have to like I think it was 2 weeks ago. I was walking from like I was like a hell go by and I was walking just like I think onto Granville. This dude is on a car and like I'm like turning, almost hits me, and then I looked at him, and then he's like just like, and I kept looking at him. Like he rolled down his window. Like what? I'm like, bro, like you almost hit me. He's like, are you do something? I'm like, yeah. Like listen, I was like, if you really want to do something, let's do it. I'm like, park your car right there. Let's do it. I'm like, I can put my bag down. I take my jacket off, and then he just drove off.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot in this society, a lot of people don't actually like confront that shit.
That's it. They've never been smacked.
But also, it's like the times I'm like, listen, am I really gonna fight this person? Because if I do, like
pick your battles.
I have more to lose in this situation.
Pick your battles always. You gotta ask yourself, like, is this worth it? And if you think that it is, go for it, man. But like that's the biggest thing is that like a lot of people talk reckless and like they've never been checked before.
Yeah.
So like they've been talking like this their whole life and nothing's ever happened. So like I'm totally okay with being that guy to check him. Like I'll check fucking Roderick or I'll check fucking Roscoe. It doesn't matter. Like if I'll be like, you were talking shit.
Yeah, let's do it.
You have to understand that like you can't talk shit.
But I think that's
like, I think we can go back and forth and have a disagreement.
But we don't have to like.
You don't need to get disrespectful.
That's the thing. I think it's when you get disrespectful, and I think for me having grown up in an all boys high school was a very interesting like environment because like one anyone could get it, and it was funny because like there's nothing that anyone can really say to me right now that can like break my spirit unless it gets like mad disrespectful.
For sure.
Because your mama joke, your girl, everything happened, bro. But one thing I realized there's certain things that we would never fight over, like. Would never fight over women because I'm like, bro, like, you're gonna get fight and then what? Like, it's not worth it. But also, like, it's like with things where it's like, if you're talking about my family, someone's catching hands.
Yeah, it does. See, the family thing depends because, like, if you're like, let's say if you like said something about my niece or my brother, like your brother's a bitch or your niece.
No, it's like let's say we're having a conversation where it's like nothing that had nothing to do with them.
Yeah.
Where it's like if I'm like disrespectful and then I say something about your mom because of a disagreement we had.
But like what? But like you would have to know my mom for me to even take that.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
If a
it's
random
like
guy's like your mom's a fucking slut. I'd be like, you don't even know what she looks like, bro.
Yeah,
like, she could be standing right here and you wouldn't even know. So like I wouldn't even get upset at that.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, but it's more like it's like. Maybe like if I said something disrespectful about your mom, right? Then it's like
for sure,
bro, like
you know, you've been to my mom's house.
Exactly. I'm like, that situation. I'm like,
and I could tell that it's real.
Exactly.
100%.
I'm like,
yeah, you're getting smacked. Right
exactly.
There. Yeah. I'm like, watch your mouth. You get smacked. I say, watch your mouth.
But
it's intent though. It's
the
intent. If you're talking about someone you don't know, I think that I'm like you. She could be standing behind you, and you wouldn't even know you're talking about her. So like, I'm not gonna get offended.
And I think it's exactly what you said, right?
Fed you, bro.
Yeah.
Like my mom put fucking rice and chicken and fucking stewed chicken and dumplings on your plate, and you're gonna talk about my mom's like that? Nah, it's not going down.
But that's exactly what you said. A lot of times it's like the intent behind what that person said.
Yeah.
It's not really what they said, but it's like the intention of like.
What are you trying to do there? You trying to really disrespect her?
Yeah.
Okay, then we have problems. But like, so like, example, it's like I was like, oh, what you're doing. I said this to homie. I'm like, yo, like, I was like, you got to stop doing that, man. That's what losers do.
Yeah.
And he's like, don't fucking call me a loser. I'm like, I didn't call you a loser. I'm saying what you do or what you're doing currently. Like, you don't do it 24/7. I'm saying what you're doing right now, that's what losers do. And like, I don't think you're a loser, so like, you need to stop doing that.
I'm like, I would tell him you're a loser, bro. Like, because that's.
I ended up doing it after he said that.
Because I'm like.
Yeah, but like, but that's what my wording was. I was like, you're not a loser, but like, what you're doing right now, that's what losers do. Like lames do that.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh fuck it. If you said that to my face, if you called me a loser to my face, I'd fucking clock you. I was like, okay. So next time I see you, I'm gonna say exactly what you told me not to say, and we're gonna see. That's cool. I'm not afraid to get my ass kicked. I'm gonna get beat up.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
chances are I'm not gonna get knocked out.
Yeah.
I think I know how to fight enough where like you could beat me up and piece me up, but I don't think like my chin's gonna be up here and you're gonna fucking get me. I think I know enough to hold my hands up to like just get beat up.
But
and
even
like you
with
knock me down and I'm like covering up, cool, got my ass kicked. If I end up getting knocked out, cool, I got knocked out. I'm not afraid to.
But that's what I'm saying. I think it's also because of just going by philosophy to like, you've been knocked out before, so you know what that's like.
I've never been knocked out. But like I've never gotten to a fight but
it's like you've maybe not knocked out, but you've lost a fight before.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. A lot of people don't even put themselves in that situation where they're losing the fight, and they just talk recklessly. And then it was time where it's like I'm saying, like for me, like there's certain people I'm like, if I was to start shit with, I'm not starting a fight with that person because I'm like, what? I'm gonna lose it.
It's not a good business.
And then I'm like, and then second thing I'm just like, I'm like, if I do beat him up, what am I winning from this?
But like also you're probably fighting because like you're trying to like either stop something from happening or let somebody know that there's consequences.
No, but that's what I'm saying. It's like there's a lot of things like there's still ways of doing that because the situations for me I was like I should have knocked some people out this year, but I didn't. Yeah. But it's like you can still kind of have that, that there's ways of being like we're not homies, bro. So please don't slide on me like.
Also, unless you know how to fight, it's hard to knock somebody out if you're actually in a fight.
Yeah.
Like if me and you are arguing and we're face to face and and I sucker punch you out of nowhere like while you're talking shit to me, that's not real. That's not a fight. That's you sucker punch. And I don't know if I consider then we get into like certain things.
Technicalities.
Where, like some people would call that a sucker punch. I consider a sucker punch when someone's not looking. But if I'm facing you and I'm like, yo, keep talking shit, and I'm gonna punch you in your mouth, and you're like, fuck you, nigga, you a bitch, you ain't gonna do nothing, and then I punch you in your mouth and knock you out, I don't consider that a sucker punch.
Yeah.
But I also don't consider that a fight.
Yeah. Because I'm
gonna if we square up and we we're actually squaring up, it's hard to knock someone out unless one knows how to fight and one doesn't. Obviously someone can get clipped, but it's like people are always like, oh, knock him out. I'm like, I don't think you would. Because one, I don't think you know how to fight.
Yeah.
And two, even if you did, I don't think that the person's gonna I don't know. If you did know how to fight, you have a better chance. But if you both don't know how to fight, the chances are you're not gonna knock them out unless you have just like crazy hand-eye coordination and you just like naturally know how to throw hands. But people say that all the time. Like I would have knocked him out. I'm like, why don't you say beat him up? I'd rather beat someone up than knock him out. Like I'm not like I'd rather like you are like I'm done. Like no, stop, please. Than like me just like hit you and you like be out on the ground. That I think is more like that's why even when you watch UFC and you hear these guys fighting, like they're like, I don't want to knock him out. I want to fucking drown him. Yeah. I want to take him into deep waters, and I want to that's more scary for me.
Because that's more like that.
You want it to stop.
Yeah, that breaks your ego, bro. Because I'm like, if you knock him out, like they get away easy, bro. It. For me, I'm just to break your spirit.
They're not really hurting. They wake up and their jaw's sore. And they're like, what happened? Cool. But like when you are like over top of somebody and just like hitting them in the gut, hitting them in the ribs, and give them one to the fucking head. Oh, I'm sorry, man. Stop. That's a little different because now you're tapping out and giving up. I'd rather have that than just like.
And I think that's the thing too. I think after like reading books like 48 Laws of Power too, like there's more like mental things you could do to fuck people up that are way worse than me punch. Because like if I fuck you up, the scars will like they're gonna heal.
I think fighting is always the last resort. Like, I would never resort to that off the jump. It has to be like a back and forth dialogue where it gets to the point where it's like, okay. First, we had a disargument, and then it got a little heated. But now it's getting, like, disrespectful where, like, I feel like the verge of something physical is going to happen. So, like, let's not get there. And then if they continue, then it's going to go there. But, like, my first initial thing is not like, oh, we're going outside. What'd you say? Oh, let's go. No, it has to
I think it depends with the person, bro. It's because, and I think the situation.
A constant back and forth.
I think it's the situation. Because, for example, like, for me, like, there's certain things I think that are just, like, universally just, like, there would be a back and forth. But like, so for example, if you imagine you come in one day and you had heard I'd been mad disrespectful to Katrina, like you're not gonna put hands on me, but you're not gonna. There doesn't even need to be a back and forth with that. You're just like, bro, like you're mad disrespectful. You know it. Like I feel like situation like that, there's no back and forth.
Yeah,
but there's times where it's like,
there'll be a little bit. I'll be like, you know what you fucking did, and you're like, yo, I didn't even like what? What are you talking about? I didn't say that. Or like, he'd be like, yeah, I said it. I'll be like, well, you need to apologize. I'm not gonna apologize. There'd be still a back and forth. But what I'm talking about, like, I'm not just going to go from 0. I don't go from 0 to 100.
No, I get okay.
Because like 99% of the people that I've ever argued with aren't even worth my time.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, you stay over there and you do your thing, like, whatever. But there's some people that I'm like, oh, I'm willing to be the one to at least engage with you.
Yeah.
Because most people, I feel like the way you're talking, don't engage and don't take it to that level. So, like, whether I win the fight or I don't, or, like, I hurt him or he hurts me, like, I'm willing to, like, engage in that because I feel like you need that. I feel like you need to know that, like, what you're saying is not okay. And the only way as two men, except me being like, shut the fuck up, you're not going to be like, okay. Like, it's going to keep going back and forth. So I'm like, cool. Physical altercation is really the only way men, when it gets to a certain level, can kind of deal with it. That's why people always want to box and like da-da-da-da. Because, like, there's nothing you can say. Yeah.
It's just about the hands now.
But you know why? Yeah. It's because, like, that's the most animalistic thing you can kind of do. Yeah. Like, that's why I like UFC so much, because it's like, cool, you can have a back and forth and talk shit.
You can talk
about my religion and talk about my mom and my kids and all this stuff.
But once we're in the octagon, it's like, we're done, bro.
And I strangle your neck and you're tapping. If I don't let go, you're going to die. Like, you're going to die. Like, and then you're passed out, and then I can just start beating on a fucking lifeless body or, like, unconscious body. Like, that's the whole thing with fighting, is that, like, that's why you can't talk shit after. Because it's like, no. If he was allowed to kill you, he would have. If it's
they had to stop the fight.
Yeah, they had to stop the fight because you would have died. Yeah, is basically it. So, like, that's why people get to that point, because, like, after the fight, it's like, okay, respect, man. You would have killed me in that situation. If we were animals, you would, like, I don't know if you follow the account Nature's Metal. It's fucking brutal, man. It's like, it's Nature's Metal. Anyway, it's just like animals in the nature like doing stuff. So it'll be like, I saw like a gazelle like eating a deer, and then you just see the fucking deer. It's just like this, like dead, and they're just ripping it apart. But like, it's still alive. Yeah. So like, it's getting eaten alive. Like, it's just there, and its eyes are fucking blinking and going like this, and it's just the most animalistic, pure thing that you can watch, and you're just like, that's what fighting is. That's why people like fighting.
Well, I think that's the thing. Now I understand when people are like, oh, like, this generation has gotten soft because we've lost that animalistic thing where it's like, in the world, it's like, it's eat or be eaten, bro.
Yeah, it's come and save me now. It's someone needs to save me. He's saying something I don't like. Someone needs to do something about it. It's like, no, why don't you fucking smack him in his mouth and make him stop saying
Or just not even smack, but just like have that confrontation with him.
Yeah. No way. I see where it goes. Yeah. But like, if someone's bullying you and you want it to stop, don't fucking he's saying stuff. He's called me a he, she, or he called me something that I'm not, or he called me a bitch, or he called me a fag, or whatever. It's like, okay, you want someone else to save you?
Because it is now. And that's what I'm saying. Even with that, it's like, and that's the interesting thing for me. Because even that you said, I think that would be a more healthier way of dealing with the situation.
For sure.
If you came up and if someone said, hey, okay, like, what you're saying is offensive, and here's why, and it's respectful, and we had that conversation, I'm like, okay, like, because one of two things is going to happen. I'm going to understand and be like, okay, yeah, I'm not going to say it. Or I'm going to be like, hey, listen, like, I don't understand, but respectfully, because you've had that, like, amicable, like, conversation with me, I might not say it in front of you. Yeah. But a lot of people just like, it's that cancel culture where we're just like, oh, because he said it. And, like, you haven't even explained. Because, like, a lot of these situations, I'm like, why is it offensive? A lot of people can't even answer it. Yeah. Or like they're now like hopping on these trends because I'm like, okay, like, what about it is offensive, or why are you even like doing this thing? Because you're going back to like the whole like I think it was like during the pandemic when people were putting out the black squares or whatever, right? And I'm just like, do you even know what it means?
No, they put up orange squares for natives.
And I'm like,
you remember Coney 2012? Do you remember Coney 2012? You don't remember Coney 2012? Oh my God, that was like the biggest fad. Like me and Warren, Warren will have like an Instagram post. It's to like, I don't know if he still does it, but for a while, like in like 2015, 2016,
like what happened?
He would just tag Coney 2012. So what happened was there's a African militia or whatever, like bad people, terrible people. And I think like the head guy, like it's like the Osama bin Laden. Yeah. I think his last name was Coney.
Yeah.
And what they do is they kidnap little boys, like 7, 8 years old, and then turn them into like child soldiers. So like the whole thing, and then like people were selling like buttons and fucking all these things to like bring awareness. But I'm pretty sure it was all just like it was real, but people were doing it. People were just scamming people by bringing attention to it and then like collecting donations to help it. I can't believe you fucking don't remember. Look, the first thing as soon as I put Coney 2012. It's a movie. They made a movie. Look, 4.4 out of 10. What happened during Coney 2012? Much of the world had never heard of Joseph Kony, a Central African warlord responsible by UNICEF's account for abducting tens of thousands of children to enslave them and use them as soldiers, and for displacing more than 2.5 million people throughout the region. But that would change in March 5th. I don't know what happened. Was Coney 2012 caught? Well, this is one way to celebrate having the most viral video ever. Ignore the loads of criticism. Behind the Coney 2012 was reportedly arrested last night. So Jason Russell, a co-founder of Invisible Children, the group behind the Coney 2012 campaign, was reportedly arrested last night after he was found masturbating in public, vandalizing cars, and possibly something else. How crazy is that?
I think it's because like I'm just one of the like I get bringing awareness to it, to stuff like that.
Yeah, but
a lot of it too is like,
what else is there than awareness? There needs to be something more than.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, know what's happening. What else?
There has to be more actionable steps where it's like, okay, like, are we changing policy? Because it's like if you look at it again, like all this money that you're going, like you can't even track where it's going. Do you know where it's going?
It's tough. Most organizations don't make it public where you can just kind of like Google it and see. So it's tough.
So that's all my thing is. I'm like a lot of people like like I like. Because even with, I get protesting all of that, right? But I'm like, it's going to happen. Like, you're going to bring awareness. What's the steps after that?
There's no steps after that. This is what it is. People like to talk about things, and by talking about them or posting about them now on social media makes them think that they're doing something. And also having a position where it's like, this person's good, this person's bad, I'm on this side. It makes them feel like they're doing something to change the situation when that's all they're doing, and it's doing nothing at all. People think bringing awareness is doing something, and it really isn't. People think about posting about the Palestinian and Israeli war is doing something, but it really isn't. Everyone knows what's going on, but like no one's actually doing something where what they did made some sort of change in the area where there's actually war. Like, there's nothing that they did that actually did anything to change anything.
And the thing is, a lot of people don't understand even for it to get to that situation. This is like years of conflict.
For sure. No, it's decades.
Yeah.
Decades.
What I'm saying, right? And it's like...
So, it's one of those things.
It's like, not going to change overnight.
It's not at all. And like just posting about it on Instagram and letting people know you're pro-Palestinian or pro-Israeli or whatever side you choose to be on. People are like, stop killing kids. And people are like, well, what are they supposed to do? And like it's just back and forth. And like, there's no right or wrong answer. It's just more so like people need to stop dying is number one. But in regards to like just people like to do that. And that it's just human nature. I don't think they're consciously doing it. I think it's just something in humans where they feel the need to have an opinion on something and like pick a side and like be on a team. Like humans are colonized. Like they like to colonize and like hierarchies and stuff like that. So it's like me versus you, like Republicans versus Democrats, and like they just like to be on a side. There's not many people who are on gray who actually analyze the situation as a whole and see both sides. It's like no. I'm a Vikings fan. So if you're playing me, I don't give a fuck what's wrong. I hope your quarterback fucking breaks his leg. I hope fucking your coach dies on the field and has a heart attack. Whatever. As long as we win, I don't give a fuck. Most people are like that in real life and in important situations, and they think that that's actually doing something, and it's not. And then they hop onto the next trend, and then hop onto the next trend, and then hop onto the next trend as soon as it comes up. Oh, something's popular. People are talking about it. What's happening? Oh, Will Smith and Jada? Okay, cool. Iraq? Ukraine and Russia? Cool. Iraq and America? Cool. Palestine and fucking Israel? Cool. Coney 2012? Cool. O.J. Simpson? Cool. Bill Cosby? Cool. Let's all have an opinion. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Andrew Tate? Okay. I'm on this side. I hate him. I love him. Oh, he's good for guys. He's bad for... And it's just... And then they move on to the next when something else comes up. And then something else. Oh, Kim K again? Okay. Oh, Kanye? Okay, go with Kanye. Gets one. Oh, okay, Kanye does something else. He's back? Okay, I'll go with it. and people stop. It's just what humans do.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where it's like you can't really ask them to stop because it's in their nature.
Yeah.
But what they need to realize is, I think a lot of them don't realize that just because they have an opinion and they talk about something, you're not doing anything. You're not. You're honestly not. You're not smart enough to do anything. You don't have any pull to do anything. Like, you can't even do anything in your own town. You can't even pick your own mayor to fucking build a park beside your kid's school. Yet you think because you posted on Instagram about the Ukraine war, that's going to do something? It's not. It's not.
Yeah. And the thing is, even with that, because I feel like there is like more tangible things that you could do. Not
they're not willing to do it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They're not willing to find out what those are, and they're not willing to do it.
Because even for me, during that time, I was making these posts. I'm like, for me, like, I hate posting about like politics and all that shit. Mm-hmm. But I remember I'm making a post like in like the group chats I was in. Like, I was like, listen, like, stop posting these black squares, right? Like, when you're in actual spaces where you can make a difference, like when your dad is saying wild shit about black people or whatever, are you actually being like, yo, what you're saying is fucked up? Or are you like, one, educating yourself on those situations so you can actually like know what to say or how to actually make policy? I mean, it's like, how are we going to make policy? Because even I remember during that time, I'm like, I don't believe in protests. I've seen it happen so many years. But I'm like, unless like there's one that's like policy being actually changed, there's multiple ways of like getting changed. But I'm like, if we're just protesting and that's it. I'm like, are you having the conversations? Are you actually like looking like, okay, how do we change policy? Are you like running for like maybe mayor to change the policy, right? Yeah, so you're bitching about, oh, like we don't have enough parks. What does it take to become mayor? Or who do I need to invest into to become a mayor? Or
I think it's a maturity thing. I think that especially like when you're at a certain age, like if you're like 24, 25 and you're doing this stuff, like you're just not at a mature enough age to even think about, like, you're just like, let me speak. Speaking's enough. As opposed to like, okay, what's the actual process on accomplishing some of this? So like I'm not absolved to it. I'm grown as a person, but I'm sure before I was like, Black Lives Matter without actually knowing. I was just like, that sounds about right. I'm black. Black Lives Matter. But then it's like, why do we need to like signal out a certain demographic? Like, I know Black Lives Matter. Why do I need to go preach it in the streets? Like, for me to preach in the streets seems like it's doing the opposite. Like, is it at a point where I need to like let people know that like Black Lives Matter? Like, what's happening? Like, is that where it's at? Like, I feel like Chinese people's lives matter.
But not even that. For example, it's me realizing, like, for example, it's like there's different approaches. It's not my right to tell you how you want to go about the matter, right?
For sure.
If you want to go protest, I'm not saying don't do it. I just, like, for me, it doesn't make sense. But if you want to go do it, that's cool.
Educate yourself on it too. So at least if I'm like, how come you're out here and you sound like a fucking idiot? It's like, well, that's not a good look. Like, you know? So, like, that's the biggest thing is once you start questioning people on why they're doing stuff, they can't explain it. You're just like, you don't even know what you're doing. You're just moving with the wind. Wherever the wind blows, that's where you're going. You're an empty plastic grocery bag right now. If it's blowing that way, that's where you're going. If it's blowing that way, that's where you're going.
I don't know, man. Like, it's some of those things sometimes that make me terrified to raise kids in the world.
Yeah, that's why you got to raise them properly.
Yeah. Because I'm like,
I don't want to get into that. Most people don't do that. Yeah. Because the biggest reason most people don't do it, which is kind of obvious, is that it's just easier to not. It's easier to let your kid do what they want as opposed to actually like forcing them to do what you think is right because you're working all day and you're tired and you got to cook dinner, and that's the biggest thing. But I don't really want to get down that road because like parenting is a whole different thing that I can spew about.
Yeah. But I think we might have to call it, man. It's been a good one.
I know.
Yeah.
It's game over, man. What are you doing right now? You got to go somewhere. Where are you going?
TAF is having an event downtown.
Where was my invite?
It was like I'm shooting like.
I seen him with Luke. I seen an Instagram video today with him and Luke. Do you know Luke Williams?
I don't know who he is. I just saw the story. I didn't know.
You saw it though, right? Yeah, that white boy tatted up. Yeah, I played football against him.
Oh,
I was
dope.
like, oh shit, I didn't know they knew each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what it was about. I just saw both of them on the story as I was tapping through.
I don't know what that's for, but I know he's having like an event today.
What's the event for?
It's like for like men's mental health, like the Black Therapy Foundation. So he partnered up with I think Matchstick, the coffee shop, and then there's also like one of the I think the baristas. She has an event where she does like pop-up ramen things. So it's kind of like that. So they turn into like a whole event where people can kind of.
And he's an ambassador too for Lulu, so I'm sure they probably are.
Yeah, they did something.
Small little part of it.
So I'm gonna go shoot that like 6, but I have to obviously leave, and I'm trying to get some work done. So
yeah, we gotta go. Trina's cousin, she got a new place, so
Yeah,
we're
you're gonna go see that,
and then all the family's going out for dinner.
Yeah.
So Italian food tonight, baby.
Oh yeah. Ooh, bro. Before we end though.
Yeah, how's Savio?
Oh my gosh, bro.
But like
I
it's
miss
always
that place.
like that.
No, it's because the thing is I haven't been in a while.
When's the last time you've been? Have you been this year?
I think I went last December. I think that's the last time I went.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And
fire.
Well, we know that.
I mean, but it's just that's the thing though. It's just like this. It's like what you were saying because I hadn't been in so long. So it's just like the service, and you're like, man, it's like that's why it's like it's so hard to get into now. Like you have to like pre-book. And just like the food, like everything was like, because I tried new shit too. I'm just like, ooh, they had like this beef tongue thing, this lingua. Ooh, slappers.
Telling you, man.
But it just made me even just think of like how I want to run my business, where it's like just the way they move, bro. Even like what you were saying, it's like it might not even be a server, but like someone who's just like there's always someone moving around and be like, yo, like, can I grab that for you? Like, can I refill that water? I'm like, it's like
as soon as it's done.
Crazy.
As soon as it's done, you sip your drink, you finish it, you put it down.
Yeah.
Fuck my cup, though, God.
And
Like
just
another one? You want another one? Sure, I'll get another one. Shit.
And just the vibe, man. It's like it feels like I'm like
Yeah.
it feels like you're at home, but you're not at home. But just
See, businesses like that are businesses that allow referrals to be relevant still.
Yeah.
Like, because like people don't talk like unless it's like something they see on social media or like, internet or TV. Like, very few people talk about like where they've been. Like, you can have the best RMT ever, but you're not like going about be like, do you have an RMT? Da, 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 da. Oh, you should come see my guy. Like, people aren't like starting conversations based off of how good business. People will start a conversation about Savio Lope. They'll be like, oh, what'd you do yesterday? I went to this great restaurant. Have you been to Savio Lope? It's the fucking best. And like, they'll just go off about it. And it's because of the service and how good it is.
I think you can. I think it's like we do that with certain things. I think RMT is now more like a more recent thing.
Yeah. No, that was just
because people
that was just an example.
But it's like I think it's what it is. It's like referrals do way more.
Like, even like a coffee shop that you like have you been in this coffee shop on fucking Burrard and this? Like, it's called, and you're like, what? I've never heard of it before. But like it being so good that like, you have to talk about it. Like, you have to tell people about it because you loved it so much.
Because even then, like, they
share your love.
They have fire content. They don't even have to post that much. They don't even have to run ads, to be honest. Because people, Savio?
Yeah, because they've already built their. Yeah. And it's one of those places that, like, one, there's regulars.
Yeah.
There's people who go every now and then when they can, but that's their restaurant. So, like, there's so many of those all put together that, like, they're constantly full.
They're a great example of, like, that term was, like, build it and they will come. Like, it's like, but yeah.
But they have a new one coming out.
Do they?
Yeah. I think it's called Elio Vlope.
Where is that? Is that, like, still kind of in that phrase area or somewhere else?
It'll be... It's at on West 17th. Osteria Elio Vlope. So I think it was supposed to open in December.
Yeah.
But then it got pushed back. So.
Okay.
That's where we're gonna go with Marco and his wife.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
let me know how that is. I'm definitely down to check it out because
space, which used to be a former mechanic shop.
Well, they definitely
is arriving this winter, and this was October 3rd, but I think it got pushed back to the new year.
Well, they definitely have my referral for sure.
Well, you have to go first. I don't think it's.
No, I mean Savio.
Of course. Well, that's a given. You know.
Yeah.
That place is certified.
Yeah.
Certified. If you haven't been, like, that's the restaurant to be.
Yeah.
If you haven't been nowhere, if you want to go to a nice restaurant and enjoy fucking like 10 out of 10 experience, like it's a can't miss.
Yeah.
If you go and you don't like Savio Lope, don't you ever talk to me again.
Yeah.
And I'm dead serious. That's one of the ones I'm dead serious.
Yeah.
Like, if I say, what'd you do this weekend? And you said, I went to Savio Lope. And I say, how was it? And you said you didn't like it. Do not even continue the conversation with me. It's like, hey, even if we've been friends for a while, I'm going to be like, you know what? Like, no offense.
Yeah, no
like,
taste.
It's just one of those things that you just like, we can't.
Yeah.
You know, I said it. I was talking to Sam. I was like, it's one of those things like, you don't like Sam, or if like, you don't like Stanley. I'm just like, we can't. Like, there's only a certain. This is gonna be so platonic and so surface level. It's just gonna be, hey, how's it going? Good, great. That's it. That's as far as I'm going with the conversation.
Because I even said it to you. I even texted you because when you asked me, I was like, bro, like, if you go, then even if you're terrible at dates, that's at least like you've got like 4 points. At least 4 points.
If you take a first date to Savio Lope and you won, if you don't hit, cool. But if you don't at least get a second date out of it, like the ambiance and the food and the environment itself is gonna make up for your lack of fucking game. That's it. Like if you're a 4, it's gonna make you a 7.
Yeah,
7 to 8.
You could have no bars, no riz. You can just be like, the food is good. I'm like,
that's it. If you're a 2, it's gonna bring you up to at least a 5, 6, where she'll consider having a second date with you just because of that place. 100%. If you're already a 7, 8, ooh, you clap at cheeks. Yeah. You might. All right, yo, let's head out.
With that, peace.